Ford Mustang, what do we know about it? Well, I ran into a guy who owned the most incredible Ford Mustang. He made me want to own one. Here's his story. Maybe you'll want one too.
The year was 1972 when Al Willingham of Tuscaloosa, Alabama went car shopping with his dad.
He had just gotten out of the Navy. He spent a couple of years serving our country. Well, Al came home and needed a car. Al made a deal with his dad. He finds a car, his dad will finance it for him. But the catch was, he could only spend $2,000. So he went shopping, ran across a used car lot in Tuscaloosa.
Money was tight, but a Wimbledon White 1970 Boss 302 caught the younger Willingham's eye on a used car lot. The asking price, $2,700. A 4-speed hockey stick stripe. A Boss. Willingham negotiated a deal with the dealer and his dad.
$2,700 was the price across the windshield. A little bit more than Al could afford, of course.
So Al, I think the least we can do is take the car for a test drive.
They did some negotiations.
His dad was out $2,400 when all was said and done.
And he drove that 4-speed Mustang off the lot.
Decades later, Willingham is still reaping dividends on those payments made to his dad. See the Boss. Recently, I met Willingham at a car show in Birmingham, Alabama. Willingham had just won a door prize.
He was walking with a cane, had a little Ford Mustang on top. He just won the door prize. It was an all Mustang show, and he was pretty happy. Put his little cane on the back of the car, and then he told me his story.
If you ever see the car, I can see you, said Willingham, because it never leaves my sight. Willingham placed the cane on top of the fold-down rear seat in his Boss 302 Mustang. Willingham's face lit up as he began to talk about his many adventures in the car. Street races and eluding the cops in the car sealed a bond that this car owner won't easily break. If you cruise the boulevards of Tuscaloosa in the 1970s, you may have seen a trio of Boss 302s. Willingham's white Boss made the rounds with a green Boss and a yellow Boss, owned by a couple of his buddies.
And all three of them used to tear up the streets in Tuscaloosa. Speeding tickets, running from the law, all of it. Al said he was hell on wheels, and I kind of believe him because he blew the engine up in that Mustang.
It pays to be first.
Al used to street race. He loved to get into stoplight drags with Chevelles.
During his road warrior days in the 1970s, Willingham raced a Chevelle and came out a winner in more ways than one. He had the Chevy beat and decided to quickly pull into a parking lot to cool his engine. Just as he did, he spotted the red and blue lights in his rearview mirror. Willingham watched as the Chevelle blew past, followed by another Chevelle, trying hard to catch his Boss Mustang in the first Chevelle. A Tuscaloosa cop pulled the two Chevelles over as a smiling Willingham skulked slowly through the darkened parking lot. Willingham relishes the muscle car glory days of the 1970s and his 1970 Boss Mustang.
I asked him how many miles he put on it. Well, now it's on its third engine, and he said it's got 500,000 miles on it because it was his daily driver. He loved shifting gears and getting looks everywhere he went. That gleaming Wimbledon White paint and the 4-speed, the car was perfect. Everybody wanted it. Al said he'd never let it go.
A pile of speeding tickets and a blown engine were the only things that could slow Willingham's Mustang. He continues to maintain the Boss in stock condition, only replacing parts and paint as needed back to factory specs. Despite the miles, this Boss looks no worse for the wear. Mustang received a Wimbledon White repaint about 15 years ago. Willingham, not one to back down from a race, managed to blow up the 302 engine not long after he got it. Since then, he has had the engine rebuilt twice. The stout Ford 9-inch rear end is still the original with stock 350 gears. If you can tear up a Ford 9-inch rear end, you can tear up a steel ball, said Willingham. The transmission is still the original 4-speed, wide ratio, and has never been apart. Surprisingly, the Boss gets decent gas mileage, like that matters. I ask anyway. My Boss came with a 600 CFM carburetor and gets 21 miles per gallon on the highway, said Willingham. Other than the driver's seat being replaced, the interior is all original. I could tell Willingham loves his car as much now as he did 4 decades ago. The look in his eyes when he talks about it made me believe this was the greatest car on the planet.
Well, here we are 4 decades later. Al still got the car. I think it was a wise investment. $2,400. What's it worth today? Al says it's priceless.
The 1969 and 1970 Boss 302 Mustang certainly look like a great investment in hindsight. Ford produced 7,013 Boss 302 Mustangs in 1970. Willingham's Boss 302 is priceless. I'm Jody Potter. This is Junkyard Life, Story Beneath the Rust.